a couple good questions I wanted to address, so let's jump right into it. Hope everybody's doing okay this morning. Will has another question regarding his new antique banjo. He says the one that you're playing in your vids, I guess that's this one, the Wayman, has geared tuners. You all see there, and my fifth peg too. That's true. The one I have has friction tuners. Any advice as to changing them out to geared, and if that should even be done? Well, so I'm assuming that you have the more modern geared tuners that are kind of sort of, or not geared but friction, that are just like two pieces that screw together, and it's just friction. And those are fine. What I find with the antique friction tuners is they're fine up here. I don't have any problem with them. But the old antique fifth peg tuners, they always break, or they're always wore out when you get them, or they wear out shortly after you get them. So, and also for the sake of tuning on stage and with other musicians, I find it's just a lot easier to cheat and have these geared tuners. So that's why I put these on there. And it's pretty simple. It's just a matter of, you know, if you have the more modern turn of the century friction tuners, then this is just a drilled hole in here, and you can probably just take those out and pop in your geared tuners. What you might have to do is the geared tuners might be bigger, might need a bigger aperture through the peg head. So that would just be a matter of, you know, very neatly widening that aperture, just drilling it out very neatly, very carefully, that kind of thing, so you don't split it and stuff. But you probably don't even have to do that. You probably just slap these geared tuners in there. I don't know. I had this done a long time ago before I started messing with instruments, and so I had my repair guy do this for me, Jack Dillon in Asheville, North Carolina. When he was doing the neck reset on this, I brought these 5 geared tuners in for him at the same time. I was like, hey man, can you just slap those on there too? So I had this done for me. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but as far as I know, they just fit right in there. So you could just put these on. These particular tuners are just the 5-star, I think, planetary tuners. Yeah. So they're like, I think I got these for like $25 a piece, something like that. So it's like $100-something bucks to get the set. And for tuning on stage, it's just really, to me, it was worth it. I went ahead and did it. And I don't think it didn't require any dramatic alteration to the banjo. One thing I did do, as you guys can see, is I got rid of the little plastic little tabs that they came with, and so these are ebony, black ebony, that I replaced that with. I figured it looked a lot nicer. So let's see, Will, I got a little sideways on that, but yeah, so that's probably what you have, and you can probably change them out easily. Now, if you have an earlier banjo that has the actual like violin peg style friction tuners that are just a solid piece of wood, well, those go into a very exactly tapered hole. And so you may or may not be able to sandwich these tuners on there. And it's very simple how these go on there. You can see that it's a hex nut right there, I guess you can see. And so all it is they come in pieces, and you put it in there and screw it together, and you, with a ratchet or a crescent wrench or adjustable wrench, you tighten it down where you want it. So they're easy to install. But anyhow, if you have the old friction tuners that are tapered in there in the tapered hole, that might be a little more difficult, and you just might not want to even mess with it then. I don't know. But so basically, long story short, it can be done. It's not complicated. And should it be done? Yeah, I mean, just do it responsibly. Don't damage the instrument when you or somebody else do it. I mean, the safest bet is take it to a good repair person and have them do it for you. Just boom, when they're doing something else, like your frets probably need work or whatever, who knows. So yeah, go ahead and do it, don't worry about it. But keep your old antique tuners. I mean, they're worth money, first of all, and you might want to put them back on later. You might regret putting these on there later. And if you ever sell the instrument, it'll be worth more if you have, you know, it'd be better to have the original tuners still with it. That's one thing to consider. So yeah, but as you see with me, like, I went ahead and put these on there because I'm not selling this banjo ever, and this is the one that I will use on stage generally if I ever do stuff like that. So I want the fast to be able to just slip right in there and not worry about it. All right, let's get on to the next question. Ryan Ryan wants to know about left-handed banjos. So I'm a lefty, and I've always wanted an older playable antique banjo. I've looked online with no luck. I currently play a modern, low-end Asian banjo. Do you have advice for finding an older turn-of-the-century lefty, or any advice for a lefty banjo player in general? That's tough, man. I mean, I'm not left-handed, but I do know that left-handed instruments have always been rare and are always going to be rare, and they're rare today. So that being said, yeah, like I think just for the sake, because of collectors, even if they're not left-handed, the collectors have probably bought up, you know, they like the left-handed models of the antique banjos because those are probably rare. They didn't make that many of them, so a lot of those are probably in private collections, or they're extra expensive because it is a lefty. You know, like an old antique, like, you know, instrument that's left-handed is going to be rare, right? So that's why you're having trouble finding them. They're rare, they're desirable to certain collectors and to left-handed musicians. That being said, you could find them, just keep looking. I have not seen many in my day, but also I'm not looking for things like that, so I don't know. But what I will say is you're probably, if you get a nice left-handed turn-of-the-century banjo, it's probably going to be about $1,000. So why don't you just figure out a quality. There's lots of makers right here in America right now who are making great banjos, just as good as any banjo ever made in the turn of the century, which really represents the golden era of factory banjos, like the 1880 to like 1915 period. But there's guys and gals, I presume, making them today that are great, making great ones. So look around, and I should talk about that. I don't really know which makers to endorse because I'm out of the loop on that, but I could find out like a list of the really good like makers today that you could actually put in an order with them and get a banjo like within a year or whatever. So there's some good people out there. So that would be really my recommendation. Look for a current maker in America who is actually taking orders and they would probably be able to make you a more affordable left-handed instrument for like, I don't know, in the $1,000 range, maybe less. And yeah, and you could do something like that. I mean, I think like the Enoch banjos, I think they make lefties and stuff, for example. So look around. I mean, like you said, you're going to have to spend about $1,000 probably to get a good one. But don't be stuck on just an antique, because you may never find that antique lefty. All right, guys. Well, this has been a pretty good Q&A. We're running up on our 9-minute mark here. I don't want to keep y'all too long. I'm going to let you go. I got a bunch of other material, but that's going to be for later. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for continuing the conversation and your contributions and your pledges. It is making a big difference here. I can tell you that. All right. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.